Alright, my phone is all messed up. I apologize for this. But welcome to another episode of the Gaff's Aftermath. Just want to touch on last night's game. Was sitting JoJo an issue? So as you all know, and you're kind of worried, is JoJo hurt? Or are they just doing this to to get him fresh again? Get some fresh legs underneath of the big man. Our MVP candidate. Okay? And I was okay with them doing this because the last couple games he's looked gassed. He's looked tired, out of energy, just not himself because he's been carrying this team. He's got the most 30-point games. You know, he gives it his all out there. He plays a lot of minutes. For a guy, you know, don't forget, coming off of last year where he was not playing back-to-backs, wasn't playing a lot of minutes. He had a minutes restriction on him. And you can't rely on JoJo all the time. It's a team effort to go out there and do this. And with the acquisition of Jimmy Butler, this is why you come out here and bring him. He was a complete monster again last night. Took over the duties of being the main star, dropped another, he tied a season high of 38 points. He was all over the place. You know, he had 3 steals, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. He was doing it all over the place. I thought he was good defensively. Sixers looked a little sloppy, though, because they let the Pistons score 41 points in the second quarter. But the defense was so good in the second half that they only allowed the Pistons to score 22 and 21, respectively, in the third and fourth quarters. So they locked them down. They were down 16 points going in a little bit into the third quarter, and they came back with a fire lit up under their ass. That is what I'm talking about. That is what we need to do, especially on the road. You know, you don't have the energy of the home crowd down at the Wells Fargo Center. We struggle. Any team struggles in the NBA on the road. It takes a lot. And especially with your best player not being out there, it's worrisome. Blake Griffin touched us up again for another 30 spot. He was at the line, I think, a career high for him at 30, 31 times. But we continued to attack them down low. We got to the line. We were fantastic from the charity stripe. Going 20 for 21, we were 95%. We weren't shooting the ball particularly well either. We were 9 from 32 from downtown, so we were abysmal. We couldn't rely on our shots. What's up, big fish, little boat? And how about Moose? I know a lot of people like to hate on this man, but he was so huge last night. Not only with hitting 4 threes, but being able to give Brett Brown all those minutes. I think he played 30 minutes. Like I had just said, he was 4 from 9 from downtown. And he was great on the offensive boards. He got 3 of them. And the blocks. How big were those? 3 key blocks towards the end of that fourth quarter. With 5 fouls he was playing with. Because he gives you an element that Amir doesn't. Now, Amir's going to do the nitty-gritty for you. Go out there. Give you some tough minutes. But Father Time is undefeated for a reason. Okay? Age has finally caught up with him. He's not athletic anymore. He's just very slow-moving. He really doesn't bring you any offensive prowess at all. You know, he maybe gets some cheap putbacks or a dunk here or there, but Moose has the ability to stretch the floor. He can hit from downtown, even though he's streaky, but he's an energy guy and, you know, younger, of course. So when we go a little bit small, he's 6'11", he gives you better versatility. I like him out there rather than Jonah Bolden, too, just because Bolden's so raw. He's not the best defender, Mike Muscala is, but he's just going to give you nonstop effort all the time. So I thought he was huge and instrumental in the Sixers winning last night. You had 3 guys with 18 points, like I said, Moose, Ben Simmons, and JJ. JJ was not on last night at all, but, you know, that's why you got to rely on your bench. And they were key. TJ played some crucial minutes, too. But Jimmy, to be able to lean on him, because if we didn't have him, it was going to be up to Ben Simmons. And he kind of struggles at this point in the season and this point in time in his career because he's young. He doesn't have the confidence to really rely on that jumper or even to take one. He did take one last night. But he was aggressive on the offensive end. He was getting nice putbacks. He was a monster on the boards last night. 14 rebounds. So I like the aggressiveness that I saw out of Ben Simmons. That's the Ben Simmons I like to see and expect to see night in and night out. Now, whether it's because JoJo wasn't in there, so more of the weight leaned on his shoulders and they were going to double Jimmy, if that's good, what it's going to take. But he has to learn when Embiid is back inserted into the lineup that you continue to be aggressive and attack, because his first step is like none other. He's big. He's like a moving train. When he gets that momentum going, there's not much that can stop him. Okay? He does have the ability to get to the cup. He's just, it's all up here on when he should do it and how he should do it. He didn't look to pass first. He only had 6 assists last night, but again, we weren't shooting all that hot. But I thought this was a big win, and you want to get JoJo back with his feet back under him, so I'm okay with resting him. You can't rely on JoJo all the time. You saw in that Raptor game, he just wasn't himself. He was drained, and that's all because of a guy that was on minutes restriction. He's been playing 35 minutes plus a lot of these games because it's been a lot of these games have been tight this season for the Sixers. Okay? And you don't want your 7'2", 250-pound guy to go down. And with Embiid's injury history, you just got to be careful. You don't want to put the baby gloves on him 100%, but he can sit out here and there. That's okay. To have our MVP candidate and the best player on our team to be able to dominate when it's more important down the season. We should be able to beat the teams like Detroit. We play them again Monday, I believe it is. And then we play Brooklyn. So if JoJo's ready to go, then he should be. Barring as it may, we should dominate them again. They killed us on the boards. Obviously, Drummond and Blake, they had 62 rebounds, 17 offensive rebounds. But that's okay. We were still able to pull out that win just because the energy we brought in the third and fourth quarter. And we rely heavily on the bench. Now, does this say, do we still need help and it's just going to take time and cohesiveness with this bench? That if it's good enough to make a championship run? No, not at all. But you can rely more on this bench if Muscala and or TJ can do what they did last night. And you just got guys like Ben Simmons being aggressive too. But I still think you're going to need to go out there and get some more help. Big win, though. Big win for the Sixers, because I was worried last night. I saw him like, oh, man, JoJo's out. What are we going to do? What's the offensive scheme? Brett really hasn't drawn up a lot of plays for Jimmy Butler. Well, it was all focused around Jimmy now. And there were false reports out there saying, and you can't, this is why you can't listen to the media, okay? Because I've had a couple of coworkers come up to me and say, man, did you hear about JoJo and Jimmy? JoJo's upset that his role is lessened now that Jimmy Butler has gotten here, and there's going to be a rough and a tiff in the locker room. Don't believe everything you read. The media tries to construe, draw all types of stories out there to kind of get attention, clickbait. So don't believe that. These guys are all on the same page. I'm sure they were ecstatic when they acquired Jimmy, because the one main goal for all three of our big guys, to win a championship and winning. It's all about winning. Splash Guy, what do you mean Embiid has to suck it up? How do you feel about going after... I would like to have Eric Gordon run. It's a guy that can put the ball on the floor, and he can light it up. He's a very good shooter. There is that injury history tied to him, but he showed over the past couple seasons that he's been able to stay healthy. So I would go after him. I'm sure he does. Yeah, this is where you look at it, and I would even like to take some guys off of Boston that aren't happy there, but you never trade within the division, so that's probably far and in between that we're not really going to acquire anybody. If the stories about Embiid are true, then he can't be disappointed. I don't believe them, Splash God. That's the thing. The media likes to twist people's words and kind of create drama so they get attention for their articles. It's clickbait. That's all it is. You can't believe everything you read. The Sixers should be signing Sean Kilpatrick. We had him before, Jay. But going after Eric Gordon would be a really nice addition to come off this bench. Gives you that firepower. He can score in a multitude of ways. Like I said, he can shoot. He's a great shooter. Okay, I would put him into the category of being a great shooter. But he can put the ball on the floor. He can get to the line. He shoots a high percentage from the charity stripe. So if we can go out and get him, acquire him, I'm not quite sure what his salary is like, but it really shouldn't matter. Wilson Chandler for Eric Gordon. I would like to keep Wilson Chandler. I wanted to talk about him a little bit. Or Ariza, that would be good. But he played really good minutes. I know he didn't really expect, because he's 31, 32 years old. Fultz. I like Chandler. He didn't expect to be playing 35 minutes plus. He's more of a guy who's in the latter part of his career. You play him maybe 20, 25 minutes, but he's been giving the Sixers great minutes. He's versatile, being able to defend 1 through 4, and even sometimes to 5. He's a guy earlier in the season when we faced the Pistons, he was hurt. He was out with that hamstring. So you can throw him on Blake like we did last night. You can throw him on like some of the quicker guards because he can throw your bodies up, and he can shoot. And I love Wilson Chandler, and I thought it was a great addition when we did acquire him. I'd like to keep Wilson Chandler if we can, because you don't want to subtract by adding. You know what I mean? So if you're able to give up kind of some of your lesser prospects, Fultz like playing high school. Fultz playing like a high schooler. Fultz ain't playing. And I'd like to also make this statement with Fultz and the whole injury, the made-up sounding injury, but it's not. There was a guy in basketball that had this same injury. If you remember, Landry Fields. Okay, he played for the Knicks for a very long time. I think he even had a cup of coffee with the Raptors, but had the same exact injury. Where is he now? He is not playing basketball. Because what this disease does is it causes your muscles to spasm without you doing it, without command. So when you go to shoot, it kind of clenches your muscles or your tendons even. And that's what happened to Landry Fields. Same exact issue. He had it for 2 years. After that, right out of basketball. And if that's the case for Fultz, his career might be over before it even started. The kid's only played 30-some games. Now, with those reports coming out, I don't know if he's even... I'm doing good, Dave. How you doing? I don't even know if he's tradable at this point. Have there been players that have overcome horrific injuries? Of course. I don't know if this one is fixable or not, if that is the case that he has. And I don't want people to go out there and start attacking the Sixers medical staff because they're saying, oh, look at the history of the Sixers medical staff. These players go out there and see their own doctors all the time, okay? Embiid goes out and gets his own surgeries from specific doctors, so it's not solely on the Sixers organization and their medical staff to end or find. A lot of players don't like to see in-house medical attention. They like to go out and seek their own way of medicine or whatever it may be. So we just got bum luck, and if this is the case that he does end up having this, he will be known as the biggest bust in NBA history. And what luck do the Sixers have? The only real positive we can get out of this is that the Kings are the 8th seed in the West right now, okay? Meaning us getting rid of that pick so far hasn't hurt us. It's not hampering us at all. And you look at it, yeah, if we would have stayed and kept that pick, we maybe could have traded it on to acquire somebody else. We can't live in the past. It is what it is. It's done. Could we have Tatum? We will never know. Danny Ainge could sit there all day and say he wanted him and he swindled us, blah, blah, blah. We don't know that to be true. It's kind of easy to sit there and boast when your player ends up being an all-star and is balling out. So, it is what it is. I wanted Fultz. I know a lot of fans out there wanted Fultz because of what he brought to the table. A 3-level scorer. Have the ability to shoot, get to the 10. It just sucks. You can't prevent injuries. It happens to younger players. It happens to older players. You just got to live with the consequences and move on. Build from this. But Brett Brown, I thought, did a good job coaching. I think he out-coached, finally, Dwayne Casey. And Dwayne Casey is far and beyond a very good coach. I would even go to say he's the top 5 coach in the NBA. So, if we can just bring that same mentality and tenacity each game, night in and night out, when Embiid's inserted back into the lineup, we're going to be a very scary team and hard to deal with. So, but big win for the Sixers last night. We rode Jimmy's back again. That's why we went out and acquired a guy like that, a closer. A closer that can shut games out you can lean on. He's a beast. That's why you got to resign him next year. Jimmy is really starting to feel comfortable. Freaking love Jimmy. We still need bench player. Absolutely, Dave. The job is not done. We still could improve this team. Absolutely. We need more firepower off the bench. Whether it's whoever. There's been so many rumors on how we can go get players. I would particularly like a guy that can shoot, first and foremost. You can kind of make up for defensive deficiencies. So I want a guy that's a pure shooter. What's the time on Zaire Smith? I don't know if we're going to see him, honestly. Because of that whole peanut allergy, it set him back. So he's got to get back. After he overcomes the peanut allergies with this injury, they might just hold him out for the entire season. But earliest, I would say maybe mid to end of January. Do you think they just wait for the offseason to make moves? No, they can't wait for the offseason, Dave. Absolutely not. Because we're not good enough, as we saw. If they were going to wait, then being the second seed and getting knocked out in the second round is good enough for them, then yeah. But they can't. They have to go out and acquire more talent. Because after we faced the Raptors, look at all the glaring holes that we had and needs. We just got overpowered. We were overmatched. So they cannot wait for the offseason to make moves. They have to still do something in season. Jimmy's like, Jordan, huh? I wouldn't go that far, but I'm loving the play we're getting out of this kid. And that's why I think it's worth to pay him that money. And people want to talk about his age. When did becoming 30 become like the kiss of death for athletes? It's like, what do you think? You're only valuable when you're 21 to 28 years old? I mean, it's a complete joke. I mean, not wanting to pay, oh, I don't want to pay Jimmy because he's 29 years old. He's 30. He's done. What? Look at the success players have had past 30 years old. Look at LeBron James. He's 34, and he's killing it. He's literally picked up that LA team and put them into the position of what? What are they, 15-9? He's a monster. Do you think they will sign JJ for another year? I think they should. I know JJ had made the comments and said he wanted to end his career with the Sixers. He loves playing here. And just keep giving him. I would even give him a 2-year deal, you know. But I know they're only doing the 1-year deal to see if it's possible that they can go out and sign a max player for next season with all the talent that's in the free agent class. JJ, hey, he's grooming him. I love Shamet. I loved him when we drafted him. I thought it was a sensational pick because he can run the point. He can do a lot of good things. He just needs to work on his shot. We're going to go to the NBA Finals? No, we're not. Not with this team, we're not. We're not there yet. We still are a few pieces away from the finals. And Jimmy has is nice to see. Yeah, because the chemistry with JJ and Embiid is the best, right? I think they're the two-way players that we have with them when they're out there doing that high pick and roll and the high screens. It's awesome. I want to have another guy like JJ that's going to be running around all over the place, you know, coming off of screens. My favorite player to watch back in the day that did that the best was Rip Hamilton. Can come off screens hard. The Warriors do it really good with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. But I want to have a guy like that. If you have two guys in the lineup that can do that, and then possibly a guy that can come off the bench and do that as well, they're very hard to cover. It wears out defenses. Chasing people around like that, running through screens, it's tiresome, you know? Because not only can they shoot, but they also have the threat to be able to take it to the 10. And that's the difference between JJ and Covington is JJ will put the ball on the floor and go to the 10. He does it a lot. So you can't always rely on him just hanging around that three-point line and jacking up shots where Covington, you knew exactly what he was going to do. I think Shake Milton should get some burn at this point. We're killing it in the league, Kyle. Yeah, I'd like to have Shake get a little, and you know, he's still a little raw coming off that injury, so he's not maybe 100% healthy. So getting Shake Milton a little bit more minutes. He's a big guy. He's a guy that can light it up a little bit. If you watched him in college, he was fun. And what little time I saw him play when he was down at the center, I like what I saw. So maybe get him a little bit more touches. But that's up to Brett Brown and his rotation minutes. I don't like Korkmaz getting so few minutes. Because I think Korkmaz can really add to this team. For the things that he does. He's very good. He can handle the ball. He's an underrated passer, and he's got a very wet jump shot. More versatile than TJ McConnell. He played like Chicago, like MJ. What do you think of Chandler's game against Pistons? I liked what I saw out of Wilson Chandler. I think he was awesome. You know? But Korkmaz isn't going to get in a flow, and that's what shooters need. They need consistency. They need a lot of playing time for that jumper to be wet all the time, you know? So I would like Brett to incorporate and give more minutes to Korkmaz along with Landry Shamet. You know, if Shamet's struggling a little bit, get Corky in there. Okay? He did a lot for his turkey, for the national turkey, for that team when he played. I don't know the name of that team. But, you know, he's got a very quick release. He can come off screens. He's big. He's a big body. He's 6'8". And I know he kind of spoke up about his disapproval of not really getting any time. He wanted to be traded. And then he got some playing time, and look what he did. It was pretty good. So that's up to Brett Brown, though. How do you feel about Demetrius Jackson? Nah, I'm not a fan of Demetrius. He's whatever. He's like a little quick guard, but he struggled too much. I really didn't like him in college either. Even when he was with Boston, I wasn't a big fan. Nah, he's just there because of the injuries that we've had. So Demetrius has got to go. Faux show. All right, I'll take 2 more questions because I'm actually at work, and I went over my break time. I only get 15 minutes. I think I've been out here for a half hour. So, any last questions? And I'm sorry the video is like cut off with the two sides being cut off and dark. It's very frustrating. I tried to rotate it, but my phone's been screwed up lately. I have to get a new one. So it keeps locking every time I switch it horizontal. Sucked not seeing you last night. Yeah, dude, I was beat. I was literally falling asleep watching the game. I was going to do the video last night, but I was too groggy. I was out of it. It wouldn't have been very good. So I had to reassess and watch some more tape this morning to kind of refresh my memory. I almost made it. I made it up until the third quarter. But that won't be happening. I just had work earlier the past couple days. So don't worry about that. The Gaff's Aftermath will be tuning back in after the Sixers games. Yesterday stated Simmons most kills us when Simmons runs. Can you repeat that real quick, bro? Got you. Thanks, bro. See you next game. No problem, Dave. You have a good one, homie. We're going to have a little rest for the Sixers, too, because, again, I don't think they played on Monday. We'll be playing the Sixers, or the Pistons down at the center. Seems like we've been playing them in Charlotte a lot recently. And I like when the games are a little bit more spread out. And then we freaking see them stinking Nets. They come to the center, too. Another turbo game. I hope we handle them. There's been talks. I know a lot of fans wanted to see the point guard from the Nets here. And I don't want him. Russell, I want no parts of Russell at all. I think he's overrated. I think he's a ball hog, and his stats are inflated because he's on an awful team that has no offensive talent. Especially when Karis LeVert got hurt. So he took over the duties of taking the most shots. So when you see him score, 28, well, how many shots has he taken? Close to 25? He's overrated. He stinks. If he was that good, the Lakers would have never traded him. You know? I think he's been a bust up until this point for where he was drafted. But that's it. Embiid gets his rest. He'll have his legs under him. We're going to we'll be hosting the Pistons, as I stated before, on Monday down at the center. We should own them again. Look to Embiid to explode. After coming off these past couple games where he's played like crap and he hasn't really been himself, maybe the fatigue's been the issue. He has a little place up in Drummond's head, as he stated before, which I think is funny. He plays them mental games, too. Just to give, whatever gives you that little edge. The energy was going to be brought to the fans down there. We should maintain that second seed, but I want the first. I want to dominate. I'm greedy. I want to overtake them freaking Raptors, but we need them to start getting cold. And free agency, Kawhi Leonard's a free agent next year. Could we acquire him? Could we throw money at him? Of course. Is he going to want to come here? I don't know. But imagine that lineup. Jeez, Embiid, Simmons, Jimmy, and Kawhi Leonard. Woo! On paper, that's an NBA fan's wet dream right there. But we don't know what's going to happen. Reports said Embiid is going to be a problem. He's caring more than team success. I love him. Yeah, he's got to tone that down a little bit. For sure. But that's his personality. That's what I love about Embiid. He's made statements, and he calls himself out when he does play bad. And he hasn't played good. He is about pleasing the fans. And he's still learning, remember. He's only played basketball 8 years. So, once he gets that underway, but I love that. I love the mental games that he plays with all these other players, gets in their heads. He's funny, he's entertaining, and he's a beast. He's still, I think he's an MVP candidate. I would lean more toward Giannis at this point getting it, but Embiid's in the conversation. All right, guys, this is KG on BB. I'm out. Have a good Saturday. Enjoy. Sixers come off another win. Gotta love it. Ben Simmons played aggressively. Prove me wrong more, Ben. Please. Please make me shut up and stop talking trash about you. Because I want nothing but success for that kid. I want him to be our third tier to our freaking tripod of our team. Our 3 superstars in Jimmy, Embiid, and Ben. But he's not there yet. He still needs to take a couple more steps. Keep being aggressive. Have that killer mentality. And just attack the rim. Because nobody can stop you once you get ahead of steam, man. You're not. You are an incredible talent and have a lot of ceiling. All right, guys, I'm out. Leave your comments, concerns. Are you happy with the Sixers benching Embiid? Or do you think they should just play him out outright? Are the Sixers good enough to beat a team not other than the Pistons and, of course, Brooklyn without Embiid? Do you think they'll be able to take down the Celtics without Embiid? We definitely can't beat the Raptors with Embiid. But, interesting for a coach's decision. All right, guys, leave your comments, concerns, and hit that subscribe button. Bitter Birds, Gaffner, Gaff's Aftermath. Stay tuned. Peace!